Are you or a loved one disabled? Do you feel alone, lost, and confused as to how to win your Social Security case? If you're watching this video, it's probably because you have so many questions and you're desperately looking for the answers. Hi, my name is Avi Leibovic, and I'm the owner at Benefits for All and the lead attorney at Avi Leibovic Associates. Over the course of my 20-year career, I've overseen the processing and screening of over 500,000 disability cases, working with the largest hospitals, neighborhood clinics, primary care physicians, and even individuals who had no access to care at all. My strategies for how to win the case have made me one of the top experts in Social Security law in the entire nation. My life and my career were going great. And then one day it all came crashing down. It started first with some abdominal pains. And before I knew it, I'd been admitted to the hospital several times and I required multiple surgeries. I found myself unable to work and disabled and in desperate need of my own benefits. I understand exactly how you feel. I was in your shoes. And I'm going to take you through the process and help you and give you everything that I know so that you can win your case. I'm recovered and I'm back at work. And I have a newfound passion for helping disabled people because I myself have been there too. Call our office today for a free screening and to see how we can help you with your Social Security case. At the same time, enjoy these videos and webinars that we've prepared to you to help you understand how to win your Social Security case. Hey everyone, Avi Leibovic. You're watching another amazing webinar brought to you by Benefits for All, where we teach you how to win your Social Security disability case without having to pay the cost of an expensive attorney. The topic of today's webinar is going to be mental health, and specifically major depressive syndrome, listing 12.04. I'm standing in Goodland, Kansas, right? Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, right? Many of you know the famous story, Wizard of Oz. Well, we're in Kansas, we're in the town of Goodland. What a terrific, terrific town over here. And behind me, we have a very famous piece by Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh, he painted that piece. It's called 3 Sunflowers in a Vase. What do you think? You like it? Well, check it out. It's pretty cool to check out. They call it here, the original painting was called 3 Sunflowers in a Vase by Vincent van Gogh. And this particular piece of art, which is on public display here in Goodland, Kansas, is called the Big Easel. Why is it the Big Easel? Well, because it's a pretty big easel, as you can see. Not only is it a pretty big easel, they say that the painting itself, I think, is 40,000 pounds. You believe it? 40,000 pounds. It's a lot. It's about 80 feet high, 800 feet high, 80 feet high. Anyways, well, there it is. Check it out. Come here, check out the community. The community. Main Street is really great. I think not too far is the big ball of twine or string or something like that. You're in the heart of America, and it's a great place to be. And let's talk about mental health. I have to tell you that more than any other claim, actually what I should do is I should pause a second just so all of you can see how beautiful the sunset is. Let's look at this together. Because every now and then we have to go ahead and we have to just take in a little bit of the beauty of the world, right? And see how beautiful everything is over there. Isn't that nice? Isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful. Okay, back to this. I'd face that direction, but I don't think that I can because I think that it will mess up the light and put shadows in. But okay, let's get back to what we need to talk about. There we go. All right, back into action. Back into action, I'm referencing my notes. What I was going to say was that through my career, if I would have to ask, what was the #1 condition, medical condition, which I've helped people apply for disability benefits, I would have to say without a doubt, mental health issues, and more specifically, major depressive disorder. So what do I mean by major depressive disorder?
And why is this important? And why did I pick this location to go ahead and do it? I picked this location because it was the original painting, Three Sunflowers in a Vase, was made by Vincent van Gogh, right? Vincent Wilhelm van Gogh. And Van Gogh, the famous artist, as you know, he died at 37 years old. And for a large part of his life, because he was so brilliant, right? They considered him a genius, one of these geniuses, because of his artistic talents, and even his mind was very sharp. What they did was they actually considered him a madman. They said he suffered from major depression. And I thought that this would be a good place to kind of, since he suffered from depression, it haunted him, so to speak, and he struggled with it all of his life, I figured this would be a really good place to talk about the listing of affective disorder 12.04. So some of you are sitting there and say, hold on, wait up, back up. Didn't you say that you're talking about depression? What is this affective disorder? And what's this number 1204? So let's back up a half a second. All of you hopefully have been watching all these webinars. If you've been skipping around, right, and now you just say, well, I have a mental health disorder, so I'm just gonna go straight to this webinar and figure out what I have to do to win. It doesn't work like that. My job during the course of these webinars is to teach you not just how to win your case, but to teach you about Social Security process and the eligibility criteria so that you can win your case. You can't just go to step 12.04, right, and listing 12.04 and say, well, that's all I need to know. It doesn't work like that. You need to understand the whole process. You need to understand what you're doing, why you're trying to do it, so that way you have a destination, you have a location of where you're trying to get to, from point A to point B. So let's rewind a half a second. Let's go through two major points. The first point was the process. And I'm going to say this in every webinar so everyone gets it. There's an application, number one. If that gets denied, there's a reconsideration, number two. If that gets denied, there is a request for a hearing before an administrative law judge in ALJ, step number three. I know. There's also SSA Court of Appeals. That's if you lose your hearing. And then, of course, there's Federal District Court, which is even after the Social Security Appeals Council. But we're going to put aside, again, the Appeals Council, and we're going to put aside the Federal District Court, and we're just going to focus on 1, 2, and 3, application, reconsideration, and hearing. Now, in all of these steps, the application, the reconsideration, and the hearing, Social Security is trying to determine if you're disabled. Now, we've discussed, for those of you who've watched the webinars, and if you haven't, again, watch them all, that when you finally get to a hearing before a judge doesn't just say based if he likes the way you look, or likes the way you talk, or if he likes your personality, or if he's sympathetic for you. And if you say, ouch, ooh, everything is hurting and I can't breathe and I'm dizzy, I need to rest and I'm short of breath, those are all great things, but that doesn't mean you win your case. We've said many times before that in order for a judge to approve your case, he's gonna have to do something called the 5-step sequential evaluation for determining disability. It's called the 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have multiple webinars on all of the steps. We have a special one for step 1, a special one for step 2, for 3, for 4, and for 5. You should watch them all, because the more you watch it, the better you understand what you need to do in your hearing to win your case. The more you watch it, the better you'll understand of what's going on during the hearing and why the judge or the medical expert or the vocational expert, the ME or the VE, are asking the questions that they're asking. Because they're not just curious. It's not like, oh, I'm meeting a new person, they're sick. Let me hear all the juice. Let me hear what's wrong with them. No, it doesn't work like that. There's laws and regulations and procedures which are outlined in the Social Security Act, right? And those drafters of the act, right, the people who went ahead and put the law together said, well, we're not going to just say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you're disabled and you're not, and you're disabled and you're not. We're going to come up with these 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you meet the steps, you win. So what's the review? Number 1, are you engaged in substantial gainful activity, right? Are you working and making above the level of SGA, whatever year it is? If you're not clear on step 1, go watch the webinar. Step 2, do you have a severe impairment expected to last 12 or more months and or result in death? If you're not familiar with step 2, guess what? Right, watch the webinar. Step number 3, does your impairment meet or equal, right, either alone or in combination with other impairments, the listings that are provided in the Social Security listing of medical impairments? If you're like, what is he talking about? You need to download step number 3 webinar. Step number 4, can you return to your old job? And step number 5, if you can't return to your old job, can you get any job in the national economy? And again, if you're not familiar with steps 4 and 5, go ahead and watch those webinars. I want to focus just on step 3. And I've told you all in that webinar, and I'll tell you again, and I'll keep telling you so that you get it, so that it becomes easy for you, it becomes fluid, it becomes natural. You don't have to think, it just happens. When you get to step 3, right, we've already determined number 1, you're not earning SGA. We've already identified step 2, the impairment, that it's a severe impairment, and it's expected to last 12 or more months. But number 3, we want to try to win at step number 3. We want to see, does the impairment that you have, your medical condition, based on the medical records, based on your testimony, based on all the evidence that we have, does it match up exactly like the listing in the law, which I have over here on the phone, that's why I'm holding my telephone or my smartphone. Does your listing in your medical records, does your impairment match up exactly with the law and what's written? Because if the definition that was created by the doctors of what your medical condition is matches up with what the statute says, if the medical records match what the statute says, you know what? You win at step 3. You don't even have to go to step 4 and step 5. You automatically win at step 3. So we've said before, what do you have to do? You have to go ahead and you have to go to www.ssa.gov. On the top right hand of the screen over there, there's going to be a search the website type of search bar. You're going to go in there and you're going to write 2 words. Ready? Here they are. Word number 1, adult. Word number 2, listings. Like a shopping list, L-I-S-T. Adult listings, I-N-G-S. When you go ahead and you hit search, the first hit should be something that's called adult listings, right? The search is going to bring back a whole bunch of things that it found. The first thing will be adult listings. The second thing will be child listings. If you're a parent and you're applying for a child, then you'll click the second one. But since most of the people watching this will be adults, you click the first one, adult listings. And you know what happens when you click the adult listing? All of a sudden, a new window opens up, and all the different parts of the body will show up on your screen, so to speak, with titles and labels. What does that mean, that all the parts of your body will show up? It means they're breaking down in sections, the digestive system and the skeletal system and the neurological system and the cardio system and the respiratory system. It's all there, more or less. It's all there. You just have to now navigate to the one medical condition you have or to the multiple medical conditions that you have. And you just have to click the button. And then once you click the button, you're going to go ahead and you're going to identify your listing. So let's say you have depression, right? You're going to go onto the first page, like I said. You're going to put adult listings, search. When the query comes up, the finds come up, you're going to hit the first thing, which is adult listings. The whole body is going to come up, all the different systems, like I said, and you're going to click Section 12, because Section 12 are the mental health listings, right? Section 12, and I have it here. Now, as you scroll down Section 12, you're going to see that there's a lot, as we know, because we all know many people like this, unfortunately. The mental disorders under Section 12.00 have a lot of different mental disorders. It's going to go 1201, 1202, 1203, 1204, 1205, 1206. It's going to keep going all the way until 1210. Now, the first section, 1201, is an introductory category of impairments mental. The second one, and you can open your screen and watch this, open the webinar, minimize view on the side, then open another window, a Windows search window, either using Mozilla or using Internet Explorer, or using Bing or whatever you want to use. And next to my webinar, I'm talking about go to the search bar and open up the SSA.gov and put in adult listings, and then you'll see the adult listings and click that, and then click on 12.0. So as we go, you'll see that 1201, 1202, organic mental disorders, and then you start going through 1203, schizophrenia. Oh, I know people with schizophrenia. 1205, intellectual disabilities. Oh, I'm sorry, 1203 is schizophrenia. 1204, affective disorders, which is depression, or similar to that. 1205, intellectual disability. 1206, anxiety disorders, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder. In general, panic attacks. Sounding familiar? You keep going. 1207, somatoform disorders. 1208, personality disorders. 1209, substance addiction disorders, which has been put on hold. Just hold off on 1209 for right now. 1210, autistic disorders. And we're going to make separate webinars on each one of these disorders. Don't worry, you'll be able to find your webinar. But for right now, I just want to focus on 12.04, which is one of the primary ones. Like I said, if I had to pick a medical condition that I have helped people apply for and get approved for, the number one medical condition would easily, without a doubt, be 12.04. Because even if you have a physical disorder, Your knees are hurting, your back is hurting, your heart is hurting, your head is hurting, your blood pressure, whatever's wrong, diabetes, cancer, God forbid, whatever it is, most people, when they get sick physically, what happens shortly afterwards? You get depressed. You don't feel well. You can't take care of yourself in the way you used to. Maybe you can't dress yourself, you can't get up, you can't shower and bathe yourself, you can't cook for yourself, you can't handle money, you can't handle food, you can't transport yourself. What are all these things called? We did it on a separate webinar. They're called activities of daily living, ADLs. Part of the questions that the judge is going to ask you at your hearing was, can you bathe yourself, and can you dress yourself, and can you cook your food, and can you handle money? These are all activities of daily living. A, activities. D, daily. L, living, ADLs. So the number one thing is 1204, is depression. Now, many of you, again, like I said, even if you have a physical disorder, you will probably, in many cases, also have a 1204 because you're depressed. Now, let me start with saying this. Everyone's depressed. I know that everyone's depressed. We're making an argument that the depression is so strong, it's so severe, it's so intense, you've fallen into a deep, dark, black rabbit hole that you can't get out of, that it's reached the point of what? Of a disability. You can't work, you're not able to earn money. We're not talking about like a little depression, we're talking about real depression. And anyone who has real depression and who lives with someone who has real depression, you understand it's horrendous. Excuse me, it is a terrible thing to have to live with every single day. I just want to see if you see, it's nice, the light is on, good. Because I'm standing in the dark, but the light is on. It's a horrible thing to live with. Now, you can't just say that you're depressed. If you just say that you're depressed, that's not going to win. Just like if you said, my knees hurt, you're not going to win, or my back hurts, you're not going to win, or my heart hurts, or my head hurts, or, it doesn't work like that. You can't just say this hurts. What do you need to have? We have this in another webinar, medical records. Medical records, again and again and again and again. I can't emphasize enough, you need to have medical records, and they need to be fresh, and they need to be updated, and they need to be continuous, and you need to be following the rules of your doctor. And if the doctor prescribes you medication, you got to do the medication. If the doctor prescribes you therapy, physical therapy, or other type of therapy, you have to do it. If you have no records relating to mental health, meaning you didn't go to a mental health clinic, you didn't go to a mental health doctor, you didn't sit for therapy, nothing, nada, zilch, zero. If you have nothing, then don't even make the argument that you're depressed and ask the judge to find you disabled, because they're not going to find you disabled at application, they're not going to find you disabled at reconsideration, and the judge is certainly, I don't want to say they're going to laugh you out of court, they don't laugh you out of court, they're very sympathetic, they're very sensitive, they're very caring, but if you don't have medical records, you have no argument. So let's start with number one. Number one we said is, we're not talking about a regular type of depression, we're talking about a severe depression. Number two, you better have medical records, and a lot of them, if you're making the argument for mental health. Any of these listings in the 12 series, whether it's schizophrenia, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety disorder, you better have a lot of notes. And it needs to be a minimum of, I would say, 6 months to 8 months, preferably 12 months, of notes from a doctor. That's the second thing. Then number three, once you have your notes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to request the notes of all the different doctors, whether it's outpatient, whether it's inpatient, whether it's with a private, high-end, Beverly Hills, Manhattan, therapist who charges, I don't know what, $500, $600, $700 an hour, I'm just making it up, or whether it's the very nice free clinic down the block where you have group therapy and individual therapy, you got to get the notes. So once you get the notes, you've requested them. Remember, we have a webinar on how to request medical records and how to submit them. You've scanned them. You fax them in to the ERE, Electronic Records Express. And remember, we have a webinar on how to fax that in. See, step by step, we're not leaving anything out. By the time this is done, we will teach you how to win your Social Security case without having to pay the cost of expensive attorney. But now you have all the medical records. You've requested them, and they came into you. You've scanned them. You send them to Social Security or to ODAR, right? But you want to see whether or not what the doctor wrote in the notes is sufficient to get you to match up with step 3, with the listing over here. We were talking about 1204, and let's go through it together. If you have it in front of you, check it out. We're going to read parts of it together, and let's go. In order to win for 12.04, right, affective disorder, the statute says, the rules and regulations say the following. Must be characterized, right, by a disturbance of mood, accompanied by a full or partial manic or depressive syndrome. Mood refers to a prolonged emotion that colors the whole psychic life. It generally involves either depression or elation. Remember, when people have difficulties and they suffer from mental health, sometimes they can get very, very low, depression, sometimes they get very, very high, elation, like a mania. Like they think they can do anything. But it goes further, and this is the most important part of what I want you to get out of this listing in this webinar. Look at what it says next. The required level of severity for these disorders is met, right? You're going to meet number 3 when the requirements in both Section A's and Section B. It's not enough to have just Section A, and it's not enough to have just Section B. You need to have Section A and Section B satisfied, or if you can't do A and B, then you can pick just C. What are you talking about, Avi Leibovic? Let's keep going. We have your medical records in front of you. We're reviewing your medical records to see if you meet the listing of 1204, and the listing says you have to have A and B or C. So what is A? Check it out. A says medically documented persistence, either continuous or intermittent, of one of the following. Okay, so every word is important in a regulation. Every word is important in a statute. Every word is important in a law. You cannot take out words. So you have to dissect. Medically documented. That means you can't just have your sister, unless she's a doctor, write you a note saying, yeah, my brother, he's depressed. You can't just have your friend or your cousin or your gardener or the bus driver or your teacher write a note saying he's depressed. You can write the note and it will be like a letter of support, the judge will accept it, but is it quote unquote medically documented? Nope, it's just a friend, just a gardener, just a bus driver, just someone you know giving their opinion. So we need a doctor. Caveat, if you have a note filled out by an intern or someone who's maybe in their second year or third year of school and they're not yet a doctor with a PhD, be careful, you're gonna need to have a signature from a real doctor, okay? Medically documented, and what needs to be medically documented? That this is not a one-time occurrence of being depressed. It's persistent, it's continuous, right? And you need to have the following. Number 1, depressive syndrome, right? Depression. Characterized by at least 4 of the following. Oh my goodness. You just said I need A and B. Now you're telling me in Section A I also need 4 different points? The answer is yes, you need 4 things. And it's going to go now to list A through I. I'm going to list all of these things first, and then we're going to discuss them. Because you need to have 4 of them. I don't care which 4 on the list you need to have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they need to all be medically documented. That means that when you went in to speak to your therapist, when you went into therapy, you told the doctor you have this problem, and the doctor wrote it on your charts. The doctor documented it. Documentation is the key to winning. You know, I know many people, they go to therapists, and they just talk. And they talk, and they talk, and they talk. And it could be good talking. It could be excellent talking. It could be the most therapeutic, most beneficial, most amazing talks that you come in there low and you come out high. You come in there broken. You come out full, you know, in one piece again. It could be the best talks and it could be working. But you know what? If the doctor's not writing down at least 4 of these things, it doesn't mean anything to the judge. If the doctor's not writing down what you said, it's worth nothing. So this is another practitioner's strategy tip for success that only the attorneys know, that I'm giving to you here now. If you love your doctor and your doctor is not writing down the notes every day during the session or after the session, you need to say, Doc, I gotta tell you something. I'm applying for disability benefits and I love that we're talking and it's helping me. But you know what, Doc? You're not writing any of this stuff down. We're just talking and talking. I need you to write it in the notes. Now, some of these doctors, oh, well, that's not my style. For years, I like to write it down. I don't like to release medical records. It gets very complicated when I release medical records. Hold on. As my kids say, T.O., time out. No good. Either you're writing the stuff down or I'm finding another doctor. Again, either you're writing the stuff down or I'm finding another doctor. Because what did I say 2 minutes ago? I said that if your doctor doesn't write the stuff down, you're not going to win your case. If we don't have 4 of the following things written down continuously, remember the first part? Continuously and persistently. It isn't a one-time thing, but it's happening month after month after day after day. Medically documented, right? Not a friend, not someone who knows you, a medical expert, professional, documented all these. If your doctor doesn't write it and they just talk, it's time to find a new doctor. I'm sorry, you want to win the case, I'm telling you the truth. If you want me to be nice to you, make you feel good, then I can lie to you and you won't win your case. But my job here is to help you win your case. Your doctor has to write it down, end the discussion. Can't write it down, find another doctor. Okay, so we're on section A, and we need 4 of those things. So what are the 4 things again? I'm flipping through my notes again. A, it goes A through I, and let's list what it says over here. Under A, we need 4 of the following. My goodness, here it is. Okay. You either have anhedonia or a pervasive loss of interest in almost all activities. Anhedonia means you're just bored of everything. You have no interest in anything. Many people aren't used to the word anhedonia, they just say bored. But another better word for it is loss of interest. Because the judge is going to ask you in a very sneaky way. This is an attorney practitioner note here. This is the gold nuggets, what you're paying me for. This is what I'm telling you. When the judge says to you in a very nice way at the hearing, oh, okay, so how do you spend your day if you can't work? He's interested how you spend your day, yes, but he's really asking something different. He wants to know, so to speak, have you lost interest? The first one, A, right? Have you lost interest in many or all activities? Meaning you used to be a person who maybe was into sports, and now because of depression, you're not into sports anymore. Maybe you used to be into exercise, you're not into exercise anymore. You used to be into painting, into cooking. You're not into any of that anymore because you're so depressed, you couldn't care about painting. You couldn't care about cooking. Let's say you were the type of person, I'll take it so basic. You just used to like to watch TV. You used to watch it every night, all day, every day. And you know what? Since you got depressed, like TV just doesn't interest you. Music doesn't interest you. Movies don't interest you. Entertainment, politics, your family news, community news, nothing interests you. You couldn't care less about anything. You've given up. You're bored. You're lost of it all. The judge is just asking you again, you know, what do you do during the day? But what he's really asking you is, do you meet A? Do you have a loss of interest? Because if you say, you know, I used to play sports, I used to exercise, but now I'm so depressed, I just lie in bed all day. I don't want to get out. I have a loss of interest. I don't want to talk to my friends. I don't take my phone calls. That's anhedonia. That's loss of interest. And if you have that, and if your doctor wrote it, again, it's not enough just to have it. You have to have it, and your doctor wrote it. Then you meet number 1. You meet A. B, appetite disturbance with a change of weight. When people get depressed, they either eat like crazy or they can't stand food. They're either gobbling every single thing down, or if they even look at food, they want to vomit. So if you could say, it has to be documented, if you could say, you know, I used to weigh, I'm picking a number, I don't know what everyone weighs, I used to weigh 150 pounds. But since this depression started on my onset date, my alleged onset date, remember, we were talking about an onset date. If you don't remember, watch the webinar. Once my depression started on my alleged onset date, we're going to pick a date. It's 2016 now, November 1st. Let's say we picked, well, my onset date was last November 2015. That's when, you know, I started getting very depressed and things started getting hard for me. And you know what? I used to weigh 150. And either A, since November 2015 and now, I've gained 40 pounds. I can't stop eating because I'm so depressed. That's a change of appetite. With what? A change of appetite? With a change in weight. Or if you say, I used to weigh 150 and now I want to vomit and I've dipped down to like 110. I had a lady, she used to weigh like 150. By the time she came to the hearing, she was like I think she was like just under 80 pounds. Skin and bones. And she had a lot of different problems, but okay, that's B. If you have that, guess what? That's another one of the 4 that you need to have. The third, sleep disturbance. Doc, I can't sleep at night. I don't care, I'm up, I'm rolling, I'm twisting, I can't get comfortable. No matter what I do, I try to have a tea, I try to eat something, I try to take a warm bath, a hot shower, I can't sleep. Guess what? If it's documented in your medical records, you got another one. Remember, we're going through a list, A to I, and you need to have 4 of them. The next one, psychomotor agitation or retardation. Everyone knows what retardation is. Psychomotor agitation is, again, you're so depressed and you're so wrapped up, you're agitated all day long. Your hands are moving, your body's moving, your leg is moving, you're itching yourself, you're scratching yourself, whatever, you're moving all day long. You're biting your nails, we can come up with a lot of different things what it is. If you have it, that's great. But if it's not in the medical records, does it count? Nope. Needs to be in the medical records, and not one time, needs to be every month, regularly, continuous, remember, persistent. Next, feelings of guilt or worthlessness. Does this sound familiar? If you're watching this video, it could be that perhaps you've been diagnosed with depression. So if you're feeling guilty, oh, I'm the source of pain for my family. I'm the source of failure for all these different things in my life. I'm worthless. I'm worth nothing. No one cares about me. I hate my life. Guess what? That's another item. You see how all these things are listing up over here? When we started this webinar, we were talking about just, well, I'm depressed. Now you see that Social Security has really gone through once you understand that. You either have anhedonia, which we spoke about, loss of interest, or you have an appetite disturbance, or you have sleep disturbance, or you have a psychomotor agitation, or you have the next one, decreased energy. I skipped that one, decreased energy. I just lay in bed all day long. Fatigue, I'm so tired. My muscles hurt me, my body hurts me. I can't move. I just need to close my eyes. Sound familiar? Of course it does. If you're depressed, you understand exactly what I'm saying. That's decreased energy. We said feelings of guilt and worthlessness. The next one, difficulty concentrating or thinking. Your Honor, I can't think about anything. I can't take my mind off of anything except my situation, and I feel guilty and hopeless. My mind is blank. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear. I can't think of anything. I can't think of work. I can't think of my chores I have to do, the errands I have to run, my children, my husband, my wife. I can't think of anything. Needs to be documented. Next one. Last two. Thoughts of suicide. Obviously, we don't even try to commit suicide. But again, if you, God forbid, have found yourself in that situation where you've contemplated it and you thought about it, and maybe you even tried it, and thank goodness you live, but you've been admitted to a hospital, that's one of the things that help your case. And finally, hallucinations, delusions, or paranoid thinking. I'm either seeing things, I'm either delusional, right? I don't have a grasp on reality. I'm totally deluded in what I'm thinking. I'm out of my mind, so to speak, as they say. Or I'm paranoid thinking, this one's out to get me, or that one's out to get me, or someone's following me, or something's going on, right? Paranoid thinking. So let's go through section A again. Remember, we need 4 out of the following things. I listed them all. We'll listen one more time. Anhedonia or loss of interest, number 1. Number 2, sleep. Number 2, appetite disturbance. Number 3, sleep. Number 4, psychomotor agitation. Number 5, decreased energy. Number 6, or F, feelings of guilt or worthlessness. Right? Next is difficulty in concentrating or thinking, thoughts of suicide, and finally hallucinations. You need 4, not 4 things that you feel. You may feel all 12 of them. I need 4 in the medical records. And what did I tell a couple minutes ago? If it's not in the medical records, what are you doing? You're talking to your doctor and you're telling him to write it down. If your doctor's not writing down, what are you doing? That's right, you're finding another doctor. I don't care that you've been with that doctor for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and all your friends use it. You go to the doc, you say, Doc, I love you, you're a nice guy, no hard feelings. I gotta win my case, and you should understand I'm trying to apply, and you should be on my side, on my team, helping me. If your doctor is not on your team helping you, time to find a new doctor. Okay. Or, that was the first thing, that was depressive syndrome. The second option might be, in this listing 1204, is manic syndrome. Manic. Mania. You think you're going to accomplish anything, right? You need at least 3 of the following things. Before you needed 4 of the following things, here you need 3 if it's mania. Either hyperactivity, either pressures of speech, either flight of ideas, I want to run away, inflated self-esteem, I can do anything. I'm the king of the world. I can conquer anything, and I can do 20 jobs, and I can lift all this weight. You do things that you're not capable physically of doing, but yet you think you can do it. And you talk about that naturally, like to your friends and your family. They think that you're nuts. I'm Jesus, I can walk on water. I'm the Savior, I'm the Messiah. You understand, you get these, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Inflated self-esteem, decreased need for sleep. Remember with depression, there was a sleep disturbance. You couldn't sleep anymore. Now you have decreased. I can't sleep. I'm all revved up all day long. I'm ready to go. I can handle anything, right? You might have some mania. Easily distracted, right? Next, involvement in activities that have a high probability of painful consequences, which are not recognized. Again, when you have mania, you say, you know what? I think I can go surfing. Yeah, I'm gonna go surfing. And then if you don't know how to do it, you hurt yourself. I think I'm gonna go skydiving. Oh, today I'm going roller skating, but I'm going on a super big hill, I can handle it. I'm gonna climb a tree, I'm gonna lift some weights, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna do something that, again, your body is not able to do. It's not within the normal range of reason, but you're so manic, right? You're so manic that you think that you can handle it. And again, it has here hallucinations, delusions of paranoid thinking. So first we have that you needed 4 of those top ones, or that's if you have depression, or if you have manic syndrome, you needed 3 of those bottom ones, right? The next option is bipolar syndrome. How many people do we know that's bipolar? Does everyone see how all this is fitting together? Up until now, we've been talking in the abstract. Fill out the form, submit it to the office, do an application, then do a recon, then do a hearing, and this is the number of approvals, this is the number of denials. But then we started getting to law. We started doing 5 steps. And now we're really getting to law because you're understanding now, see, this is where the meat of the sandwich is. This is really what you need to know. This is what the attorneys do, and this is why you pay the attorneys up to $6,000. Because they don't just request your medical records, they request your medical records and then they study your medical records. That's right, every attorney, before they go to hearing or while they're working the case, they're studying your medical records as they come in because they're looking for all of these things. And if they don't see these things, you know what a good attorney is doing? They're picking up the phone and they're calling you and saying, we need to talk. You know, you told me you were depressed, I took your case, I started requesting medical records, I submitted the applications and things like that, and now I received the medical records. And I look at them, I gotta tell you something. Now you don't know this because you don't know anything about Social Security law, but I've been doing it for a long time. And let me tell you what you don't know. You don't know that I need to meet either 4 of those 12 things on the top section or 3 of that other section in the mania, or I have to show what? Bipolar. What does the listing for bipolar show? Bipolar with a history of episodic periods. Episodic periods. It happens for, it's on and off and on and off and on and off. It never goes away. It's always on and off. And it's manifested by a full symptomatic picture of both manic and depression. The ones above and ones below that we just went through. Syndromes. And, now here's section B. Okay, pause. If you have it in front of you to read, it will be much easier. But remember in the front of the regulation we said you either need to have A and B or C? Well, here's that B part. So just to fill the A part, you're either picking one of 3 things. You're either picking depression, you're either picking mania, or you're picking bipolar. Under depression, you need 4 of those things on the list over there. Under mania, you need 3 of the things on the list over there, or you need to have a diagnosis of bipolar. Now we go to B, right? So you needed A, now we're gonna go to B. You need both A and B. What does B say? You need at least 2 of the following. What are the 2? What are the 4 things? Let's list them, you need 2 of them. Mark restrictions of activities of daily living. Activities of daily living. Again, activities of daily living, ADLs. Didn't we talk about that about 15 minutes ago? I can't wake up and dress myself. I can't bathe myself. I can't cook myself. I can't transport myself. I can't handle money. I can't shop. What does A say? Mark restrictions of activities of daily living. If you're in a situation where you can't do activities of daily living, it's a horrible way to live. And you may meet this listing. But if it's not in the medical records, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna win? No. The testimony is not enough. You need it written down by who? By a medical professional. That's number 1. Mark restrictions of daily living. Number 2, mark difficulties in maintaining social functioning. Many of you may know when you're depressed, you just don't want to talk to anybody. You want to pick up the phone. You don't want to speak to your friends. You don't want to go to the family barbecue. You don't want to go to the mall. You don't want to go to church. You don't want to go to anything. You don't want to see anybody. Why? Because you're just depressed. I don't want to talk about it. How many times can I go over it? I don't want to see them. They annoy me. I just want to be left alone. Really, I'm not complaining. I'm not crying. I just want to be left alone. You know what that's called? That's called B. Mark difficulties in social functioning. It could also manifest itself differently. Instead of avoiding people, you could be fighting with everyone. Let's say you're short-tempered. So maybe, perhaps, hold on, I'm going to give you an example. Practitioner's notes. This is the meat. This is what attorneys do. I ask you, hey, have you had a job recently? Yeah, I had a job. I worked at, I don't know, Taco Bell, McDonald's, whatever, right? Target. Oh, okay, what'd you do there? Oh, it doesn't matter what I did. It didn't work out, I got fired. Why? I got in arguments with my supervisor. I got in arguments with my coworkers. I disagreed with everyone. It was difficult to maintain social functioning. I yelled at customers. You understand where this is going? To win an argument, and to make an argument and win a case on depression, either mania, depression, or bipolar, you need to have written in those medical records either 2 of the 4 activities of daily living problems, difficulties in concentration, I can't remember anything, right? Sorry, that's the next one. Maintaining social functioning. Or the 3rd one, difficulties in maintaining concentration, persistence, or pace. What does that mean, difficulties in maintaining concentration? I can't remember things. I'm forgetting everything. I just can't forget it. I go for a walk, and halfway through the walk, I forget where I'm going. I go to the market to buy something, and when I'm there, I forgot about it. I had to pick up my kids from school or arrange for something. I forgot about it. That's called difficulty maintaining concentration. What about persistence and pace? You know, Your Honor, you're not going to believe it. I would put up a toast, and I forgot that the toast was burned. I put on spaghetti, the water overboiled. I couldn't remember. I had difficulty in concentrating. I have to take medications every day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. You know what, Your Honor? I can't remember. I'm not feeling good. I can't remember. Someone has to remind me. These are all things that help you win your case. Don't think that they're nothing. These are the building blocks, the bricks, the foundation for winning your case. But if it's not in the medical records, nothing. You lose. You understand how you lose? You need an attorney to take you and to look at your medical records and say, John, Mary, whatever, I want to help you. I'll tell you what, I'm not even charging you. I want to help you. I'm not even charging you. But you know what? I can't win your case because you have nothing in the medical records. You understand why you need to go to a doctor? And let me tell you something. You can't say, okay, well, my hearing is in 2 weeks from now, I'll go now. No, it doesn't help you 2 weeks from now. I need to show at least 6 months of therapy. Ideally, it'd be great if you can afford it, or if the local clinic has once a week, a group thing. If you can go once a week, that means 4 times in a month. All right? Most people, if they can afford it and they're not feeling it, they will go once a week to their therapist, once a week. I want to see 4 times a month. If you really need it, I want to see twice a week. But if you can't have it and you don't have access to it, I need to see at least once a month. At the worst, once every 6 weeks. You're killing me, but maybe I'll go for once every 2 months. But that means I need to see doctor notes at 2 months. I need to see doctor notes at 4 months. I need to see doctor notes at 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and 12 months. I need to see all the notes, because if you don't have the notes, then you're not going to win. Okay? So now you need to understand, we're going ahead and we're going back and we're looking at that listing. Not only did you go ahead and you had the top part of Section A, right? But you have to remember that it says Section A and Section B. And in Section B, you needed to have 2 out of the 4. Documented. 2 out of the 4 of either what? Of either marked restrictions of activities of daily living, 2 out of the 4 of difficulties in maintaining social functioning, 2 out of the 4 of marked difficulties in maintaining concentration, persistence, or pace. Number 4, the second 2 out of the 4, repeated episodes of decompensation, each of extended duration. What does that mean, episodes of decompensation? That means that you kind of went off the grids. You went in your room, you didn't come out for weeks. We don't know where you are. You're becoming, I hate to say this, you know when you look at people who are homeless, they don't have homes, they're just like disheveled, they're breaking down, they need to be admitted to the hospital, they tried suicide, they're trying drugs. That's what we're talking about, decompensation. Or finally, number C, medically documented history of chronic affective disorder of at least 2 years duration that's caused more than a minimal limitation of the ability to do basic work activities with symptoms or signs currently attenuated by medication or psychosocial support, and one of the following: either reported episodes of decompensation, each of extended duration. Number 2, a residual disease process that resulted in such marginal adjustment that even a minimal increase of mental demands or change in the environment could be predicated to cause an individual to compensate. You know those people, they need to have things a certain way, it's very rigid, they're used to it a certain way, and if you mess up one thing, if you change one thing in their daily formula, everything is messed up for the day for them. That's what they're talking about. Or 3, a history of 1 or more years of inability to function outside a highly supportive living arrangement. So basically what you're saying is that you've been in some type of home where they're taking care of you. Okay, so this has been a longer webinar. I hope you're with me, because as I said before, if I had to go ahead and categorize of all the different medical conditions that I have, which is the medical condition that I've helped people the most with, it's for sure without a doubt depression. Because I told you, some people come to me and they have just depression. That's their problem, they have mental disorders. But I have other people come to me and they have what? They have a physical disability. But in addition to the physical disability, they also have the mental on top of that, because like I said, if you're physically disabled and you don't feel well, you're taking medication and you can't work anymore and you can't move anymore and everything hurts you, what do you think happens? Yes, you get depressed. You get upset at the world, upset at God, upset at your family, upset at yourself, upset at everything. And then once you get depressed, you can't make the argument that you're depressed unless you're prepared to do what? A and B. A and B. 4 from A if it's the first section, 3 from A if it's the second section, just bipolar if it's still the first section, the third section over there, and then B, 2 of the 4. And again, the fact that you felt these things, I feel terrible for you. My heart breaks. I know what a depression is. But the fact that you feel these things, if you don't have it in the medical records, I said it 60 times, I'm gonna say it 61 times just in this webinar, if you don't have it in medical records, you lose. It's not enough to come to court and just say, doc, you don't get it, I'm depressed. That's not enough. It's a sob story, I know. The judge's heart could break open. Your Honor, you don't get it. I've heard all the stories, folks. Not just I've lost my job. I've heard it from like, I've been raped, and I've been molested, and I've been divorced, and I've been beaten, I've been abused. I've heard stories that I was, in jail, and I had my money stolen, and since I'm a little kid, everyone's picked on me and they bullied on me. You can't imagine the different stories that I've heard. And my heart breaks for every one of them, every one of them. But if it's not in the medical records, you cannot win your case. I'm begging you, please, if you're representing yourself, because remember, I'm not there, I'm not your attorney. If I was your attorney, I would be calling you up and saying, I got your medical records and I can't win on your medical records. If I was an attorney, that's what I would do. But since you're representing yourself, you need to be your own advocate. You need to pick up the phone and call the doctor's office and make an appointment. Once a month is the minimal. Once every 6 weeks is I don't even like that. I prefer once a week, but I'll let you slide with once every other week or maybe once every 3-4 weeks. If you're getting to once every 6 weeks, once every 8 weeks, I'm telling you now, don't come back to me when you lose, because I'm telling you what you need to do to win. In order to win, you have to pick yourself up out of your chair, pick yourself out of your bed. I know that you're depressed. I'm saying this harsh, but I'm saying it with love and delicately, because I'm trying to inspire you and encourage you that you can solve the problem. If you were my client, I would get you on the phone and speaker, and I would tell you, I want to help you. Please let me help you. Some of you maybe remember the movie with Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire. Help me, help you, right? Remember that movie, Jerry Maguire? Help me, help you. If you understood what I'm saying, you're probably laughing right now. If you didn't understand what I'm saying, you probably think I'm crazy. But go run Jerry Maguire, and you're going to love it, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Help me, help you. Okay? I want to win your case for you. Help me by making the appointment. Help me, help you. Because if you make your appointment, you're going to win. You with me? Okay, so let's wrap this up. For the very last time, we're standing in front of Van Gogh's painting over here. You can't miss it, folks. You can't miss it. And what do we know about Van Gogh's painting? What do we know about Van Gogh? He died at 37 years old, and we know that he was considered, unfortunately, a madman and that he suffered from depression. We know that. So I figured that this was a terrific location in Kansas, in the middle of a field over here, to go ahead and to talk about depression. There's a very serious webinar, and if you need to watch it several times, you can do it. There are professionals out there who want to help you. There are professionals out there who are able to help you. You have to want to help yourself. And I'll add another practitioner's point here. Again, this is only something that an attorney would know, because you got to go through a lot of hearings and you got to hear a judge yell at a lot of your clients before it's drilled into your head and you get it. Let me tell you what that is. Most times, if you're really having depression, right, or bipolar or whatever, anxiety or schizophrenia, whatever, they're going to prescribe you medication. So let's talk about that. If you don't take your medication, either because you don't like the way it makes you feel, or because you can't afford it, or because you just don't care. We're going to talk about that in a minute. If you don't take your medication, you lose your case. The judge calls it non-compliant. You are non-compliant with the doctor's orders to take the medication. Because remember, we did the 5 steps. Step 1 is, are you earning more than SGA? Step 2, do you have a severe impairment expected to last 12 or more months and or result in death? Right? And then we were talking about step 3, do you meet the listings? We just went through the listing. Let's go back to step 2. Do you have a severe impairment expected to last 12 or more months? Well, let me tell you something. If you take, this is the argument of the judge, if you take the medication every day, like I tell you, sir, ma'am, I got news for you. You won't have a severe impairment. You may still suffer from depression. You may still suffer from anxiety and panic attacks. You may still suffer from all these different things, bipolar, but you know what? It won't be at a level of severity anymore because you're taking your meds. And if the meds aren't working, you tell the doctor to give you more meds, because your case ends at step 2 because your disability ends at step 2 because you took your meds. So if the doctor sees notes that he prescribed you something, you know what the doctor's going to ask you in the hearing? Are you taking your medication? What is the answer now that I just explained it to you? You better believe you're taking that medication. Doc, Your Honor, I'm taking the medication, it's not working. Because if you say, no, I don't want to take the medication, you know what happens? You lose. You took all this time, you took 8 months, 9 months for the application, and then it got denied. You waited 60 days, you did a request for reconsideration. It took another 6 or 8 months, right? Waiting for the request for reconsideration. It got denied. You then went ahead, you requested a hearing before an administrative law judge, and you drove down to the OR, and we went through state by state. You waited more than 360 days for a hearing. So it's the first 8 months, and then the next 8 months, and then a year. You're in this for 2.5 years. You're waiting for that money. And then you finally get your day in court, and instead of raising your hands like Rocky and saying, I won, you get blown out of the water in the first 10 minutes, and you lose your case because you don't take your meds. You see what I'm talking about? That's why, if you're going to represent yourself, you need an attorney like me explaining everything to you so that you can win your case. Now, if you can't afford the medication, that's a different discussion, and you go to a free clinic or you go to the ER, I don't care where you go, you get those meds. And if you can't afford it, then you know what? Go to CVS, go to Walmart, go to the pharmacy of your choice and ask them for it. And when they say, well, you got to pay for it, or you got to give us an insurance card or a Medicaid card or something, say, you know what, I don't have Medicaid, I don't have insurance, I don't have money. Ask the guy to write you a note. Ask the pharmacist to write you a note that says, on this and this day, John or Mary came to me and asked me for medication that was prescribed by this doctor. Because he has no insurance, it breaks my heart to let you know that I could not give him the medication. Go a couple times, get that note. Then when you go into the, you understand how I'm giving you attorney answers to solve a problem? What was the problem? You were prescribed medication. Did you take the medication? No. You're about to lose your case. But I couldn't afford the medication. I'm telling you how to solve that. Go to the pharmacist and say, I need a note. Give me one line. Dear Judge, John came, has no money, can't give it to him. Sign it, date it, give him the phone number so he can call and verify. Then you go to the judge, you say, Your Honor, I can't afford it. I went to the clinic, they turned me away. I went to the ER, they turned me away. I went to the pharmacist, they turned me away. If you go to the ER and they turn you away, do the same thing. Ask the ER for a discharge summary. Ask them for a note. And tell them you want them to write, I asked you for medicine and you told me that you couldn't give it to me. Write that on a paper, not you. They should write it and give it to the judge. That's how you win your case. That's how you win your case. Going in there unprepared, going in there without medical records, going in there not taking your medication, that's how you lose your case. Even if you have all of these symptoms that they're not documented, you lose. Okay, I get very worked up about this because I'm very, very passionate about helping people, and I'm very, very passionate about taking people by the hand. Even though some people told me, no, Avi, don't take them by the hand. They have to do it on their own. You can't help everyone. You can't make a person, right? You can take the horse to the well. You can't make it drink, right? I can't make you take the meds, but I'm passionate because I know people who are great people whose lives have been destroyed and ruined just because of depression. They've fallen into a black hole, and it just spirals out of control. And I want to help you get the benefits so you can have the money to pay for your rent, and to pay for your utilities, and to pay for your food, and to pay for medication, whatever you need. I want you to get your Medicaid, if it's SSI, or your Medicare after 24 months plus a 5-month waiting period if it's SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. I want you to get it, and I'm telling you how to get it. And the same exact approach that I just took, whatever it is, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to explain to you now, on any other impairment and disability and medical condition that you have that you're arguing to the judge, you need to have the same preparation, the same medical documentation, the same enthusiasm to have it all ready to go by the time you get to hearing. Because it's the same thing. If you have a back problem and you walk into your hearing, and you say, my back hurts me, but you don't have an x-ray, what do you think is going to happen? You lose. You lose. If you have seizures and you're not keeping a log of how often you have the seizures and how long the seizures lasted and who saw you with the seizures, right? And what was the result of the seizures? I bit my lip, I fell on the ground, I urinated my pants, I went to the doctor, whatever it is. And who the witness. If you don't have it written down, how are you going to prove to the judge that you have them? And if you look at the listings, it will show that you need to have a log and you need to have them at a certain pace over 12 months. Everything has to be over 12 months. Remember step 2? A severe impairment expected to last 12 or more months and or result in death. That means if you're depressed for 10 months, can you argue that you're disabled? No, it needs to be 12 months or more. If you think you're depressed, but you started working somewhere along there, earning more than SGA, are you going to win your case? No, step 1, you can't earn more than SGA. Remember, the depression or any impairment, any disability that you're alleging has to prevent you from competitively working in the local or national economy and earning more than substantial gainful activity more than SGA. I hope all this is registering. Okay. I want you to win. I know you can win. Watch this video again. Pour yourself a cup of tea, get yourself an ice cream cone, sit in your chair, lie in your bed, go sit in a park, watch it on your device, download it, whatever you need to do. Just listen to this again. It's very simple. I'm not saying anything difficult. I'm just basically telling you go to the doctor and write it down and then match up if the stuff matches this. And you can do it. Okay? I believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. My name is Avi Leibovic. If we can help you, www.andbenefitsforall. ANDBENEFITSFORALL. And Benefits for All. If you listen to me and you trust me, you will be able to win your Social Security case without having to pay the cost of an expensive attorney. I know you can do it. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very, very much.